What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the Warzone Sports Network's coverage of the MLB Trade Deadline. There was fireworks and all-stars being shipped off all over the place at the deadline, and the three of us are going to talk about it. And I just want to remind San Diego Padres fans, there's no crying in baseball. Right. Yeah. People flying into this room. I want to thank you so much for jumping in here. Let's talk some baseball. I want to give a quick shout out to our guy from the Shakeback Media Group, Willie, over here. Go check him out on YouTube. Subscribe, help him get those numbers up. Great guy. Going to be talking baseball. We got an Oakland A's fan in the house, and then you can see we got a couple boys in blue. It was a pretty big couple days for me and Joe here at the top. Joe, how you doing?
I just want to remind people that this is not going to be a biased trade deadline talk at all.
No,
not even a little bit right here.
No,
we just want to talk about what happened. We don't even know if teams got better or not. It's just here to talk.
Is Scherzer good at baseball? I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into his resume. Willie, give a couple plugs, couple shout outs, and then we'll jump right into all of the trade deadline news that happened.
Well, I'm an Oakland A's fan, and we made some moves out there that I'm a little bit excited about. But, man, what the Dodgers did is nothing short of criminal. And the rich keep getting richer, man, and they don't care about a luxury tax or anything else out there in La La Land. So,
I wish I knew what you were talking about, Willie. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. See, that's that unbiased BS. That's the BS meter right there. That's not. But nah, man, I appreciate you guys having me on, man. I'm back from vacation. I was out there in y'all's neck of the woods last week. Me and the wife celebrating 8 years around the sun as one.
Congratulations.
So, appreciate that. We spent one day in LA, and then we spent the rest of the time in San Diego.
Ooh, good choice. Excellent choice, I might say.
Yeah, we found out when we got out there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I tried to prepare you for that without like putting a damper on your actual vacation. I was like, well, I don't want to sound like a jerk. He already planned the trip. Nothing he can do. Nothing he can do. But let's go, Joe. We've already kind of talked about it. Go.
Max Scherzer, Trey Turner to the Los Angeles World Champion Dodgers. I don't know. Maybe they felt so great last year, Willie, holding that trophy up, and they were like, let's go do it again. Let's go do it again. What better way? Okay, because the rumors coming out on July 30th, Thursday? Was it Thursday or Friday?
It was
Thursday. The rumors are coming out. Padres are getting Max Scherzer. He's going to Max Scherzer. Padre fans were pumping their chest, thinking they were all that, and then, bam! The Dodgers said, "No, I don't think so." And not only did they take Max Scherzer, they brought in all-star shortstop, 28-year-old Trey Turner.
Yeah.
Like, wow. I want to see this whole team put together, and I just saw like a clip of Max Scherzer walking on the field in Arizona, getting ready. Willie, I think that this puts a big stamp on the Dodgers to at least get back to the World Series from the National League.
Well, I mean, certainly the pieces are there, and like I said in the intro, man, or off air rather, the rich seem to get richer, and the Dodgers were already probably the most, if not one of the top three most talented teams in all of the majors. And when you add this, I mean, it's just like putting a person that's already on steroids on even more steroids. But I mean, you got to give it up to the front office, man, and what they've done. They see that the window is still open for them. And the one-time much maligned manager of your beloved Dodgers, after the questionable decisions made in the World Series against the Astros, hey, they look to be ready to go, and this would be the first time if they repeat. It would be the first time a team has repeated since the Yankees did it in the 90s.
Yep.
I'm not going for that. So,
we going back to back, Willie.
Willie, these look nice, huh? These look nice right here.
How many is that? 6, 7, 7.
This is missing. Yeah, this is nice right here. I keep adding to the collection. Bring it on. I mean, that's what I think Dodger fans would be saying if they were here.
Yeah. Joe's got a fat head on his wall of himself, fully Dodgered out. That's how biased.
This is not me. This guy right here, he loves the Dodgers. I'll tell you that right now. This guy right here, he kind of looks. He's a handsome dude, but he's not me.
I love it when fans talk in third person.
Yeah. I just want to put a cap on Willie's statement about, steroids on steroid use. This really is like Arnold Schwarzenegger being injected with Lou Ferrigno. Like this, what they were able to do at the deadline, I love. And my favorite part about the actual acquisition is the Trey Turner part, right? Is getting somebody in there who hits for average, that you can put in, squeeze him somewhere in the top of that lineup, because Chris Taylor's been swinging a hot stick. Yes. And then somehow you're going to have Justin Turner. Seager came back and he was slashing the ball last night. So I love that part of the trade. And I think that the real bonus is that all of me and Joe both jumped on Twitter and social media and we're talking about the Padres getting Max Scherzer. And we were both like, it doesn't mean anything. If Padres are still a couple games back, they're not going to do anything. And then all of a sudden the news broke and we're like, we're the greatest team ever. We were on cloud 9. We were like, it just went like, whoop, just out of nowhere.
We had so many Padre fans calling us out and even coming on our show and telling us like, hey, Padres are going to take it. And there was one of the girls that were on our show earlier this year. She's a big Red Sox fan, and she was like, "I can't wait for that Padres Red Sox World Series." And so afterwards, they made the big trade, and I was like, "I can't wait for that Dodgers Red Sox World Series." And she's like, "Can you stop being so cocky about it?" That's what I love about this trade deadline, and this trade deadline has to be one of the best. But you mentioned it, Tony. Trey Turner, Max Scherzer is one thing. But when I saw Trey Turner's name crossed, and I was like, you put a guy with over 20 stolen bases at the top of this lineup with Mookie Betts, with Corey Seager coming back, all they need is Bellinger to stop hitting 100 and get back. And this team is going to be a wrecking force like they've already been.
I think, too, man, that for Bellinger, I mean, he's been battling some aches and pains, as most people have around this time of the year as we get to these dog days of summer. But with Betts coming back, I think, and with this injection of one of the greatest pitchers really of this generation with Scherzer, it's almost like if Bellinger can get back to doing Bellinger things, it's like that will be another pickup for you guys because he's been playing so poorly all year. So that's like another deal in itself if he can step his game back up.
Yep. And he's sitting down there in 6. And one thing I forgot about the Turner thing was that, and I was reading this before the show, he's actually not even, he's still under contract until 2022. It's not even like the Dodgers are going to re-up. They can have him on the roster for another season. So it was kind of more of a head scratching move as to how he was even involved. But maybe that's, why Josiah Gray went in the trade, which is a guy that I liked. And I watched the little Dodgers backstage thing with him and his family and how beautiful of a moment that was for him to arrive in Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm. And two, because I had actually forgotten about this because, the season is so very long, but when you have Dustin May, who I really like that kid, I like the stuff that he brings. He brings the high stinky cheese, and then with him being out for the remainder of this year and probably all of next year, and then with the outage known as Bauer because of his hard-headedness or his whatever. I mean that's a pun that I intended right there with the heart. So we don't know what's going to happen with him. So, and Clayton Kershaw is not the Kershaw that we're used to. I, by the way, took a picture with that dude, man, at a Mavs game here in Dallas last season. So he's a big towering dude. But anyway, in terms of what he is and what he used to be, and what he was, are really three different things. And then I saw David Price go out. He had an outing on what was that, Friday?
Yep.
Thursday, Friday against the Giants.
Yep.
Yeah. So it on paper, when you couple Scherzer, that name, with that lineup, you're thinking we got the greatest team ever. But you're really, Dodgers fans, I want y'all to pump the brakes a little bit, because what you're really doing is understanding that the Dodgers have had to go out and do this because they needed to get it done, not just because, well, we're going to be like the Yankees and just add pieces all over the place because we're the evil empire. That's not really the case in this particular instance, because they need that guy for some depth in the rotation. And I think not getting Craig Kimbrell kind of hurt the back end a little bit, because you guys can't really rely on Kenny Jansen too much, can you?
Well, I will say he looked pretty nice last night in the 8th inning. Like he got in a little bit of trouble, and then he reared back and he was able to throw the gas and get out of some trouble against the Diamondbacks. They ended up losing the game, but he looked nice. He is the one part that I am so worried about. Every time he goes out there, I'm just like, but you can't slow me down, Willie. I'm like Dom Toretto right now. I'm all gas. I'm living my life.
Dodger fans right now.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Yes, sir. That's how I am.
That's the one thing we keep mentioning. Dodger fans joke about it, but it is a serious thing. Is they always say the one thing that could stop us, Kenley Jansen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But with Blake Trinan, he's still there. Am I not correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to think he's a closer in himself, because you guys got him from us. So they can flip him if they have to and would be okay, I would think.
Yeah, they're going to be all right. The Dodgers are going to be all right. But they're going back. But there's one team that they're chasing, Willie. There's one team that the Dodgers are still chasing after all these trades. San Francisco Giants.
That was a big one. This one came in at the end. This was I think this might have been one of the last trades done, right? Yeah, it was there at the buzzer, like you say, at the horn or whatever you want to call it. But, to get that dude with all of the experience that he brings, he's a champion. He's a 4-time All-Star, I believe it is. Also an MVP, to inject that bat into that lineup, even at whatever they call that stupid stadium now, AT&T Park or Candlestick Park or whatever it is, into that ballpark, man, that we know is really a pitcher-friendly park. Look, the Giants are here for a reason. And I don't think any of us outside of the West Bay thought that the San Francisco Giants would be here at this moment of the season.
No, I definitely didn't. I didn't, but then again, I don't think the Giants are ever going to be good. I still don't think they're good.
But this is unbiased, though, right?
But it's unbiased. Chris, this is what I like about Chris Bryant, and Chris Bryant would have been a great addition to any team. He's not the same guy he was a couple of years ago. We'll say that. His batting average is a little bit down. But like you said, he brings the leadership. He's going to go over there. And the good thing about him is he's versatile, and he could play, the infield if they need him to, and he can play the outfield. He can move wherever the Giants need him, and that's a big key for them right now. And they have – it's funny because I look at the Giants lineup, I'm like, oh, they got some young guys over there. But really, you look at their ages, and they're a little bit older, and they're like, oh. But they're good, young, scrappy ball club. And the Giants, adding Chris Bryant, it scared me a little bit, but not enough to take my Max Scherzer and Trey Turner love away.
Well, let me ask you this, because like we said about your Dodgers and many other teams that are in these spots at the deadline that are buyers, we know that Evan Longoria has been out for a while with a shoulder injury, and he's not due to come back anytime soon, but I don't think he's out for the season. So when he comes back, probably I would say sometime in September, you're going to get him back in the lineup, who actually seemingly has drank from the fountain of youth with what he's done the last 2 or 3 years. So he's obviously your third baseman, but Chris Bryant can play elsewhere. So now you have another quality fielder and another bat that's probably arguably could be one of the better bats in that lineup. that's going to inject a little bit of more confidence, in my opinion, in what the Giants have already done.
Yeah, no, I like that take on it too. I like the move for the Giants because you are adding somebody that is been in the playoffs, been in big games, been in big moments. So if they get into that moment in October this year, that he'll be there. I also like it from this standpoint. When you go from a team that's doing nothing and now you're at the top of that, it just injects adrenaline into him, right? The expectation in getting there and hitting. So I think that's what kind of scares me is that when, not to say that you don't have anything to play for, they're prideful, they're big leaguers, they know they're putting tape on, but when you're part of a team that's competitive, you can raise your level to another game, your game to another level. And I think that that's what we could see with this move in this stick in the middle of the Giants lineup. So I don't love the fact that they landed Chris Bryant, but I'm happy for him that he's going to be playing on a winner.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, I don't know. If you want to keep talking Giants, I can, but I'm kind of done with them. I'm done with the Giants.
Next!
All I need to know is that they're going to lose some more games and the Dodgers come back up. Hey, this was probably one of, besides Scherzer. Scherzer was the bigger name because of all the things. But this was the pitcher on the market that everybody was going after, right? Everybody wanted Jose Berrios. How do you say it? Berrios.
Berrios.
Right? Everybody wanted him from the Minnesota Twins. Mm-hmm. We all know he's still a young guy. Mm-hmm. What is he? 27? So
I think he's 28.
He's getting into that, where you want your pitcher to be. He's been good for a couple seasons. The Blue Jays steal him. I don't know why the Blue Jays would go after him, but the Blue Jays ended up with him. So are you excited about this? Was this more of this season deal, or is this we're building for next year still?
I think, well, I actually picked the Blue Jays to win the AL East this year. And when I saw what they had in their rotation with Ryu and the guys that they have behind at the dish that can rake, of course, George Springer, he hit 2 dingers on Saturday. And that signing in itself with him and Marcus Semien, you pair them with an already potent lineup that included Hernandez and Bichette and Vlad Jr., who was just ridiculous. I think that they are really thinking that they can make a move now in a very loaded American League East. So it may be a deal that is for next year, maybe the year after that, in terms of trying to build their rotation and maybe figure out who's going to be their number one guy. But I don't think they're really out of it this year because of the potency that those dudes bring at the dish.
Well, yeah, and they're not that far back right now in the East, and I think they're actually ahead of the Yankees, who will get to some of their moves. But when I was reading this, the thing that was kind of confusing was who's the other, Michael Pineda? Mm-hmm. That was the guy that was supposed to be moved. Like, they're going to have Berrios again, like with the Trey Turner thing. They're going to have Berrios for another year after this. Like, this was a good move. The only thing that was in the article that I said, and because I'm not that familiar with the pieces that were moved for him, but it was just like that maybe they kind of overpaid, thinking, hey, we have to deal with the Red Sox who can hit and the Yankees who have a bunch of hitters, and then added a couple more guys that we'll be talking about in a minute.
Well, currently Toronto's in 4th place in that division. Currently they're in 4th. They're a half a game behind the Yankees, but they're 8 game back of the Boston Red Sox up there. And you guys are forgetting one other team, Tampa Bay Rays, and we'll get to them later because I don't even know if we put on them. But this division right here, besides the Red Sox, which we'll get to next, the one move that the Red Sox made, everybody else, Tampa Bay, New York, and Toronto added pieces that are going to help them.
Yeah, and I actually saw that. I was watching the MLB Network all day on Friday just because of this excitement. I'm telling you, man, I agree with you that this was probably the best trade deadline that we've seen in I don't know how long. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the waiver deadline is gone too. But I saw where baseball aficionados like us were talking about how excited they were about the Blue Jays, the Yankees, the Red Sox, and also the Rays making moves, all of them making moves to try to get to the finish line. And that in itself just makes it that much more competitive.
Yeah, and I think so too, because just like we were talking about the Dodgers and Giants, the NL West, all three main teams all went at it at the trade deadline, and these 4 teams all went at it at the trade deadline, and that, like you said, that's what makes it exciting. Especially, I don't want to get into it right now because we're getting into the Yankee talk in a minute, but we'll get into the Red Sox. The Red Sox brought in Kyle Schwarber, right? But the Red Sox were all day going after who? They were going after Anthony Rizzo. And even Red Sox fans were like, Rizzo's coming over to play first base. He's coming to, and the Yankees did exactly what the Dodgers did to the Padres, and they stole him away. So they had the Red Sox then went out there and got Schwarber. Who is Schwarber?
He's hurt right now.
Is he back? Yeah, I thought he was still hurt. So I don't know.
I read 7 to 10 days on Schwarber.
So when he comes back, we got to wait for him to come back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, but I'm not really concerned about him, how he's going to perform when he comes back. Number one, he's going to a team or he's going to a team that has a lot of protection for him in that lineup. Bogarts. And look, when you talk about Rafael Devers and what he's been doing all year, he's got to be mentioned in the MVP talk. For some reason, I don't think he's getting the love and respect that he deserves based on what he's been doing all year. But when you have JD Martinez and now you have Schwarber when he does come back, Xander Bogaerts, who is really doing it big in the first probably third of the year, and you surround this guy with these guys, and then you couple that with Fenway Park and a dude that just hit 50 home runs and 50 straight at bats not that long ago. So it's gonna be all right. And then because the Red Sox, their problem is not offense whatsoever. No. I'm really concerned about their rotation. And then you got to understand too that Chris Sale is coming back in August. So that's like another deal that was made at the deadline without a deal that was being made at the deadline.
Yeah, those are always like nice little bonuses that you get here. And I like that you gave a shout out to Devers because, I mean, I went and watched him an Angels Red Sox game 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I was just like, he was just crushing the ball. I think he had 2 home runs in the game, and like they just couldn't get him out. It was just very impressive. And even like when the All-Star game came up, again, I always talk about how poorly the MLB markets, right? Yeah. It's just one of the worst, hockey and baseball, some of the worst marketing I've ever seen. Like they need to just get it out there more.
Yeah.
You know who I like on the Red Sox? Alex Verdugo.
Yeah. He's got one of the coolest names ever.
Alex Verdugo, like you. I don't know why I'm echoing, but if I'm echoing, I'm sorry. Is that mine?
No, it's all good.
And then start over.
I don't know. Anyways, Alex Verdugo, Alex Cora came back. The Red Sox are a totally different team. They weren't even supposed to be here at the top. They're kind of like the Giants. Everybody kind of wrote them off a little bit, and they're at the top. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can stay up there. The Rays are making that run at them. So I'm kind of interested to see where that AL East finishes this year.
Yep.
This one right here. This is one of those moves where I was like, could they have gotten 2 more perfect names for New York? A couple of nice Italian guys. Gallo, Rizzo. Give me a pizza and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, Joey Gallo, man, the one-time former Ranger. He was in the home run derby this past year. Look, there's no denying what this dude can do at the dish. We know that he can rake 4 baggers at a rate that I think is up there as one of the top 10 in the history of the game. But I tweeted this on the day that this trade was announced at Shakeback Media Group. For all you guys out there watching and listening, that's at Shakeback Media Group. This dude is either feast or famine, because he's going to give you 50 or he's going to give you, I don't know, 35 to 40 home runs, but he's going to give you 230 strikeouts too.
Yeah, but that feels on par with the Yankees, though. They already have a bunch of those guys in the lineup.
Well, it's the Yankees being the Yankees, and Garrett Cole got his butt handed to him the other day. Did you guys see that?
The first time after the new rule?
No. The other day against the Rays handed it to him. They beat the Yankees 14-0.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
And I think he got 9 earned runs hung on him or something like that. Yeah. So to me, yeah, they got the bats. I mean, and they've always had the bats. We know that. But Garrett Cole cannot do it by himself. He cannot go up there 5 days out in a row and pitch for the Yankees.
No
way. And Corey Kluber, who they brought over at the beginning of the year, I think he was like on a $12 or $13 million deal. He hasn't panned out to what they hoped he would be, half of what he used to be. So even though the Yankees, man, yeah, they got Rizzo and they got, Gallo, and these dudes can hit the ball out of the park way, way far. I mean, he still can't pitch.
Yeah. And the Yankees are still chasing, like we said, they're still chasing the Red Sox. They're still chasing the Rays. And Gallo, like you said, he doesn't hit for average. It's home run or nothing. Heaney is their best pitcher that they brought in. Like you said, they needed pitchers, and you brought in a guy with a 5.5 ERA.
Mm-hmm.
I like Heaney because he was a top prospect that the Dodgers got back in that big D. Gordon trade. Then they sent him off for Howie Kendrick. So he has a future, but I don't think the Yankees did enough. They brought in some big names. They didn't do enough for me. Sorry, Yankee fans, but you ain't going nowhere.
Sorry, but not sorry.
Yeah, sorry, but not sorry.
TT, he's back, man. Where'd you go? You went on vacation for a minute?
I just wanted to check and see if I could hear if we were echoing.
Uh-huh.
Because I can't quite figure it out. And so I logged out and logged back in, and the echo went away on mine. So I'm hoping that Joe does the same thing. Let's see. I can take this banner situation over. Oh, Joe's back.
No,
Joe,
I got this.
Somebody said on Facebook, Sean Hart says still a lot of feedback on your end, Joe. So I don't know. Comment, guys, if it's
better. I think this should be better.
It is.
So I don't know what happened. It was talking Dodger baseball, and then I think StreamYard's probably a Giants fan or something. So they're like, hey.
But we haven't talked Dodgers in a long time.
Hey, but they see us wearing Dodger stuff, and they're like, we're gonna get these guys. We're unbiased. I just like blue. To be
Silicon
honest.
Valley does not like us down here in LA. That's basically what Joe's saying.
Yeah, that's true.
Tell Sean Hart to say it to my face.
Yeah, Sean says is much better. So cool.
The White Sox. This was a team that I'm watching throughout the whole trade deadline. They're adding pieces, and they went. And like it says, they went all in. They said, "This is our year." Is it this year? Their year? I don't think so. They had high expectations coming in. They brought in Tony La Russa, the old manager. He clashed with the players at the beginning. He's still clashing with them just a little bit. But everybody that they brought in, the White Sox brought in, and then they got the prize guy that we thought with Craig Kimball, but I don't know about you. I think they overpaid and they gave up Madrigal, their second baseman. I was like, once I saw that name, I was like, oh, they overpaid.
Well, with the White Sox, I actually did pick them to win the Central as well. They put up a pretty good showing against my A's in the playoffs last year. But what they added with Kimbrel, you got to remember they got Hernandez in the trade in Cleveland and second baseman. So Cleveland actually showed that they were sellers. I don't know if you guys saw the report, but Tito is going to be out probably for the remainder of the year due to his health concerns. Yeah. So that told me that they were definitely going to be sellers. And look, on the baseball show, on my baseball show, I got a couple people from Cleveland that are diehard in fans. And when this stuff was coming out, I was tweeting at them, yeah, these guys are definitely sellers. But I don't think anybody thought that really thought that the Indians would be in it until the end of July based on all of the injuries that they suffered But for this acquisition for the White Sox, and you got to remember too, they just got Eloy Jimenez back from the torn pectoral muscle that he sustained in spring training. Dallas Keuchel has been getting hammered around a little bit, but I think the White Sox are really setting up for their starters to go like 5 innings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they have Liam Hendricks, who was the closer of the year last year, that they stole from our Oakland A's, and now you get Kimbrel. Okay, so it looks like they're setting, because the best they had in line, of course, they had the last year's MVP. They got Tim Anderson, who could be an MVP himself, and then you add the power with Hernandez surrounding all of this relief help that they got. They're gonna probably win the division by about 12 games, and then we'll see what happens.
They're already up by 10 right now with 60 to play.
Yeah.
Is it 10? Yeah. I know
it's 9 or 10.
Yeah, I know it was 8 earlier in the week.
And everybody, and like you said, Cleveland sold. Detroit ain't nothing. Kansas City ain't nothing. And Minnesota ain't nothing. So yeah, I was saying who because it's always a big number, but they're at 9 right now. Yeah, it's gonna get crazy. It's gonna get nasty.
As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go on record right now and say that the White Sox will be the first team to clinch or have their magic number. Let me put it this way: they'll be the first team that we're talking about magic numbers, and it's gonna be into August.
You're gonna go what you're talking about in the American League or all of baseball?
All of baseball.
You're gonna put them clinching right now. They'll be the first ones to clinch a playoff spot, get their magic number. You say win the division or clinch a playoff spot?
When when we start talking about magic numbers,
yeah,
they'll be the first team mentioned when we start talking about magic numbers.
Okay, so they'll
for
be the
sure.
First team.
Yeah.
Okay, you'll take them, and I'll take Milwaukee.
I like that choice too, and Milwaukee is the for real deal. But here's the thing, though, because you just mentioned it, Joe. The AL Central absolutely sucks.
Hey, it's both Centrals suck. So they both did the same thing. But yeah, I just want to put a little. Well, I just want to go against you. You know what I mean? I like it. I like the White Sox, and if Yasmani Grandal can find his swing again, they actually might start coming back. But I like what they're doing. But Willie, we ain't here to talk about no White Sox, right? We ain't here to talk about no team that's gonna go up against your team. We're here to talk about your team, the Oakland A's, Moneyball at its finest. Here it goes. I'll let you start.
This is like the third year that I can remember, probably in the last 15, where we have been really I'm looking at the comments, guys. I'm sorry.
No, they're giving you a shout out, Willie. A well-deserved shout out where they said that you are the Shannon of this show and I'm Skip Bayless, which they know that they know how much I hate that. Thank you, Phil K, for rubbing it in. And then I agreed with him.
Yeah, but with the A's, man, I'm look, let me just cry for a minute. I don't know if I've done this with you guys yet, but everybody out there that's listened to my show have heard me rant and rave about the city of Oakland not offering a viable option for the Athletics to remain in the Bay Area, especially in Oakland. They have on the table, the A's have on the table a waterfront venue such as the one in San Francisco, in downtown or near downtown Oakland, Jack London Square, in that area. And the city of Oakland is doing everything to make it look like they want the A's to stay, but are doing none of the things to make them want to be there. So that right there in itself makes me mad, because I grew up the first part of my life in Oakland, and if Oakland loses the A's, there will be no professional teams there for the first time since the 60s. So then in terms of this deadline, the A's are really battling for the second wild card spot, because that first one is going to go to either the Red Sox or the Rays, or maybe even the Blue Jays. I mean, they made enough moves. So I like the pickup of Marte. He's an all-star. He was on a team in Arizona before they traded him to Miami. I know he's glad to get out of Miami, but the thing is that he thought he didn't have no fan support in Miami. Wait till he gets to the West Coast. but Marte is a quality player. The closer that we got, or the relief pitcher that we got from the Cubs, Shafrin, he's a valuable pickup. I hate that we lost Luzardo, but he's been up and down probably for the last couple of years. I would have liked to see us get another starter because just like Garrett Cole in New York, Chris Bassett in Oakland ain't going to be able to go out there 5 days in a row. And Montes is a little shaky sometimes, even though he performed well in his last start. And look, the A's have one of the better offenses in the American League. And the pitching, particularly the bullpen, has really let us down probably in the last 6 weeks or so of the season. So I'm looking to see how this addition is going to really help, especially that back end.
Yeah, and you brought in Josh Harrison, who could play everywhere as well.
Yep.
Give some of these regular guys a day off, or if he's going to be the starter, I'm not sure where he's going to play. But you got him. You brought in that catcher, Young Gomes. You kind of brought in like the scraps, what the Nationals, the rest of what the Nationals had to offer to anybody. But these moves feel like Oakland A's moves. Like, hey, under the radar guys that used to be or still had a little bit of potential. We bring them in here, they get them into their system, and they win games.
Mm-hmm.
They got them. I know a lot of people are, like you said, are mad because they gave up Luzardo, like you said, but it's okay because you trust the Oakland A's front office, and they've had the track record of making small moves like this just to get you to the playoffs. One time it's going to pay off. It's going to pay off one time. And I don't know why it's always like the Oakland A's, ever since the Bunny Ball movie. Before that, there's always been the team that I kind of root for outside the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to pay off. I hope it does one day. But Willie, just get used to it. Las Vegas A's.
Then Willie will be set to live there. Between the Raiders and the A's both being there, Willie will just be like, listen, we've been together 7 years. Let's just make it the rest of our life in Las Vegas. Let's go.
I can't move to Vegas. It is too damn hot out here.
Yes, I agree with you.
It's way too hot.
A's.
And you're in Texas and you're saying it's too damn hot.
Yeah, man, because on Saturday, the temperature you guys are 2 hours behind us. So the temperature at 4:30 our time was 94 degrees, but the heat index was 109.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not going outside, dude.
Yeah.
And you got what am I? I'm at 106 right now outside my house.
Yeah, Joe lives in a hot deserty area, and so do I. I have not checked the temperature, but I'm sure it's close to 100.
But I know it's like 65 up in here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Where it matters most.
AC. I just want to say, I want to add to Joe's love for the A's. I'm the same way. Moneyball's one of my favorite movies. When I was younger, I used to like to watch a lot of those A's teams were fun with Hudson and what was it, Mark Mulder.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just had a lot of, Giambi. They had a lot of fun teams. The A's did. So like I definitely always kind of root for them. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not that familiar with this roster or follow what's going on with them until closer to the deadline, or until closer to the actual World Series, MLB playoffs. But looks like Marte got a hit today. I saw that. You guys had a tough loss. Did you see the score for that game yet?
Yeah, we got shut out 1-0.
Yeah. Just want to make sure you weren't like saving it for later. I hate that when people will be like, no, because I do that all the time. Lakers games, I'll be out with my wife and I'll be like, this is recording. Nobody talk about the Lakers.
Don't talk. Don't say the score. Phil K calling me a bandwagon fan. That's funny. It is what it is.
But that's not really a bandwagon fan. That's just having a backup team. Everybody has a backup team.
Well, no. He's saying I'm a bandwagon Dodger fan is what he's saying.
Oh, okay.
Stop it, Phil K.
Yeah. Trust me, I've been through a lot of losing seasons with the Dodgers, and that's why I was excited when they did this, because I'm not ready to lose that division streak that the Dodgers are on. The 8 NL West divisions championships in a row. I want number 9. I'm hungry for it because I don't want to go back to the days of them losing, and those days suck. But we'll get into what's the last one? Ooh, the Braves the Atlanta Braves. This is why I think the Dodgers have a great road through the NL now after they made the trades, because the Braves, when Acuna went down, that hurt them, right? San Francisco, I don't. I'm biased. I probably am biased. I'll admit it now. Late in the show, but I don't think San Francisco. I don't think San Francisco and San Diego have enough to last throughout the season. At one point, their team's going to fall apart, and they're just going to die down. Are we really worried about Milwaukee in the National League? No. So the Braves loaded up with these outfielders, and one former Dodger. Basically, the Braves started the trade deadline off when they brought in Jock Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think they brought in like 3 more. Adam Duvall, who they brought back, who was a Brave, last year or the year before? They brought him back.
Mm-hmm.
And then they brought in Jorge Solar, who
that dude.
I had a lot of faith in him, but I don't see him as a big thing anymore.
No, what'd you say, Willie?
That dude can rake, man. He can rake. And getting out of Kansas City might be the type of shot in the arm that a player like that needs. But don't sleep on the Braves' offense and lineup was already potent enough. We know that wasn't their issue. Their issue has been pitching, and particularly on the back end. They kind of shored that up a little bit, I believe, with some of the moves that they made. But to me, man, they should have gotten a starter. They should have really gotten another quality starter. I think they should have. Well, I'm pretty sure that the Nationals were not going to trade Scherzer within the division, but maybe going after Berrios or one of those other Minnesota Twins starters that was allegedly on the block. You got to think, man, with Peterson, that's going to help make up some of the offense lost by Acuna Jr. Soler's going to make up some of the offense lost by Acuna Jr. Austin Riley has been on a tear really since like May, and bringing in Eddie Rosario from the Cleveland Indians, even though he's on the injured list right now with a shoulder issue, that guy is a professional hitter. And the Cleveland Indians fan base up there, they were so very excited when they got him in free agency. So when they traded him at the deadline, you can almost assuredly understand that they were really pissed off, because that dude is a professional hitter and he can go. So I think for the Braves, man, they're gonna have to rely on trying to win games 7-5 and 8-6 and stuff like that. But we know how that goes, man. For the long run, it just doesn't work out too much.
Yeah, and I think especially once you get to like playoff baseball, right, and you start running into well-rested aces in the first round of something, and the team that you played had an opportunity to set up their rotation the exact way that they wanted it. It will definitely be tough. Who's the other guy? Like, I was looking at the Braves, and they've had like just been wrecked with injuries, and then they have the one guy who's out with domestic violence. Was it Ozuna?
Yeah, Marcell Ozuna. He's probably going to be gone for the remainder of the year. Even if he does come back, I mean, MLB is going to probably suspend him. And then you got to remember too that their pitcher, their young phenom, he actually had a setback with his torn Achilles and tore it again.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, so that injury was the injury, man, that would end careers back in the day.
It still does. Yeah, I was gonna say it still does.
I mean, they're talking about Cam Akers and his ability to come back.
Yeah, that's
which is sad.
Yeah, that is sad. But I guess, man, because for baseball, you don't really see a torn Achilles that much. You probably see it more in basketball than anywhere else. But when I say career enders, I mean it was bona fide career enders. You didn't even see guys try to come back. But nowadays, guys are coming back. Look at Kevin Durant. He played at a high level most of the year. So Cam Akers, man, and the kid, I can't even think of his name for the Braves. He was back, but he was down again, but he's gonna have to shake back again. So, the good thing about it is that he's young.
Oh, he's got to shake back.
He's got to shake back media group is what he's got to do. Let's get that.
Back, baby. Shake back.
Shake it back.
Yes, please go and hit that shake back on YouTube. Let's get those numbers up for Willie on YouTube. And that was our last topic, right, Joe?
That was our last topic. But let me ask you this, Willie. maybe you too, Tony. In the history of watching baseball, in your history, in my young history of watching baseball, have you ever seen two teams like the Chicago Cubs and the Washington Nationals completely tear down their roster at the trade deadline? Like these two teams, like who'd they have standing at the end of the night? Like they got rid of everybody on that lineup. It was unbelievable to me to see two teams absolutely destroyed.
When I was younger, and I cannot remember the exact roster, but I believe the Rays did that early on with something, because that was sort of how the joke with they were the Yankees farm system. When I was a kid, like the Rays, that's all they were, and they had unloaded some of those guys. And it was before the Evan Longorias, or maybe right around that time when he was coming up and he was getting more playing time. But they unloaded a lot of vets. It wasn't quite as bad as what I saw the Nationals do. Like where I'm just looking at the roster and I'm like, this team won a World Series like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and it's unrecognizable.
Mm-hmm. The only other team that I can remember that did something this bad was, I believe it was either the 97 Marlins or the 03 Marlins.
Oh, yeah.
When they dismantled that team after 1 year because they wanted to get a new stadium built and all kinds of stuff. So they unloaded. And I think on that 97 team, that was the team that actually beat the...
Wasn't it the...
That was the team that actually beat the Yankees, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. When they had like Kevin Brown and Al Leiter, and I'm trying to think of like some of the what's
the team that had Gary Sheffield?
Yeah, Gary Sheffield.
Yeah.
Edgar Renteria was on that squad. I think Renteria actually won the MVP for that series.
Was Luis Gonzalez still on that team?
No, he was with the Diamondbacks when they beat the Yankees in 01, and he was the one that hit that squibber off of the
I know that.
But I don't think Gonzalez was there then. He may have been, but that's the team that reminds me the most of what we've seen from the Nationals and the Cubs. Now, you got to think the Cubs won the World Series in 2016. The Nationals won the World Series in 2019. And I think the domino started falling for them when Steven Strasburg went on the shelf yet again for the year. And I think he's been in the big leagues now. I want to say this is his 11th season. And I think he's had 7 season-ending surgeries.
Wow. So it's so sad too, because I remember when he came in was the height of my fantasy baseball time, and I was like so into baseball. I had the package, and I was able to watch baseball. I worked the night shift, and I just remember being so psyched about him, like drafting him a couple rounds too early because I just had to have him. I wanted to watch him throw 10 strikeout games. He was sort of like what I was hoping Kerry would be, because I grew up a Cubs fan. We had WGN in Upper Michigan, and that was only baseball games I got as a kid was that. And every once in a while we get Tiger games, and people told me I look like Cecil Fielder, owed me child support. But I will say that I will say that I was really rooting for Steven Strasburg to have a less injury-filled career, and that's the same thing that happened to me with Kerry Wood when I was younger. It's injury after injury after injury.
Kerry Wood actually graduated from the same high school that my sons graduated from.
Oh, Kerry Wood was so good for like 18 months. Yeah. So good in baseball.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, I remember that I got home and watched the 20 strikeout game, and I was like, I had gotten home from school, and I'm in there, and he's at like 14, and I'm just in front of the TV, just screaming and whatever. It's like, it was exciting just watching him sit people down.
Yeah, he's one of those great talents whose career was ruined by injury. And I think about Penny Hardaway and Brandon Roy and Tracy McGrady and all the rest, man. It's just completely a shame.
Yeah, Grant Hill is that guy for me.
Yeah, Grant Hill.
Dodgers pitching coach Mark Pryor.
Mark Pryor and Kerry Wood were both on that team together. Like that Mark team Pryor was good too. Yeah. That team was going to win a World Series. I knew it. Yeah. Moises Alou just had a little more of a vertical. Bartman, get out of the way.
Moises Alou. Okay. So yeah. So we've seen teams tear down, but I was talking about at the deadline. I remember the Marlins that you guys brought up now. I was still a young little kid back then.
Keep throwing that in there.
Yeah, I know. Joe, there's only like 4 years between me and you, okay? Like, it's not like we're...
4 years is a long time, Tony. 4 years.
4 years is a lifetime in sports, man.
Yeah, it is. That is like that's a generation.
Ask the NFL running back.
Yeah. Yes.
But we've talked on it. What a great deadline. Well, hell of a deadline.
10 All-Stars. 10 current All-Stars were moved at the deadline. That's crazy that many, like, presumably, like, these are key pieces to teams, and they were just like, we'll part ways with you. Here you go.
Yep.
And Trevor Story just sat there like, hey,
Yeah.
what's up? What's up, guys?
Yeah. Maybe there was a Wi-Fi connection issue in Denver. Who knows?
That's probably one of the worst run baseball franchises right now is sitting there in Colorado. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Denver and Miami are probably two of the worst.
Are you gonna talk about Derek Jeter like that?
Yep. Don't make me. You just almost gave me a heart attack, man. Don't make me go there with Derek Jeter. We'll save that for another show.
Yes, so next week. All right, Joe, let's start wrapping this up here. We're about to hit the hour mark.
Oh, I'm good. We already know what's gonna happen.
All right,
Dodgers World Series.
Dodgers World Series. There it is. Let's go Dodgers A's. We got Willie Epting Jr. from the Shakeback Media Group. Once again, please go and subscribe to him. Follow him on Twitter. He's tagged in this if you are on Twitter. Find him on YouTube. Lots of great shows weekly going over there, and just doing wonderful things. Has big things in the work over at the Shakeback Media Group. Here, Warzone Sports Network. You already know. Just get on it, and the shows and everything will just be coming, and we'll continue to have amazing guests sitting in the round with us and dropping all sorts of smart knowledge on us. As you can tell, Fel K has already, taken me down and said that Willie is crushing me in baseball conversation, which I can't disagree with.
I just want to be like, Willie!
Yeah.
Willie!
Shout out real quick, man. Shout out to the New York Mets for getting Javi Baez too, because that's going to be large for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also nice. It's good for baseball for the Mets to be good. If the Yankees and Mets can both be good, it's good for baseball.
That's how much the deadline, how great it was that we didn't even get the Javier Baez going up and teaming up with Francisco Lindor for the next couple of seasons, hopefully in New York. Oh man. Yeah, we forgot about that. And you forgot to mention that they brought in Rich Hill. Mm-hmm. What is Rich Hill? 42 years old? I'm just messing about around that one. But New York's gonna be they're gonna be good. Not this year, but they're getting there. They're turning around in that franchise.
They're there. They got the best left side of the infield and probably in the majors now.
Well, didn't I just see DeGrom had a setback too in his comeback?
He did have a setback. Cookie Carrasco did come back, I think, on Friday. Noah Syndergaard is still going to be coming back at some point. So if you're a Mets fan, shout out to my boy Mike Martinez, man. He's my hashtag brother of baseball on the hashtag Family of Baseball Extra Frames podcast. He's a crazy Mets fan, and that dude is excited.
I bet. I love it. That's all the plugs, Joe. I don't know how you want to get this.
You want to? Okay, if you guys aren't baseball fans, but you happen to turn in here tomorrow on the Warzone Sports Network, before we forget, we have Willie. Thanks for being on. That's from Mike. Speaking about Mike on the mic, 1:30 Pacific. What is that? 4:30 Eastern time. He's breaking down Mike's film room. Who's he breaking down this week?
I think it's Jerry Jeudy. I think he's going to talk about the route running and how he gets his separation, and looking at some good pieces of tape on Jerry Jeudy's route running ability. I'm excited for this one because the Justin Herbert one was great.
Yeah, and then we had 3 o'clock Pacific. So right after that, it's going to right into our what is it?
AFC East.
Or AFC East. AFC East. So the Dolphins, the Patriots, the Bills, and the Jets, the Jets, Jets. So that's on tomorrow. And then, of course, Mock Draft Monday coming up.
Yeah, it's also spelled BADS. The
Mm.
bads, the bads, the bads, the bads. That's for you, Robson. Yes, and we're gonna have Willie on for the AFC West, so you can have a fellow Raiders fan when we break down the AFC West and talk all about it. Let's hit this music and let's get these people, these nice folks, on their way over to subscribe at the Shakeback Media Group.
Appreciate it.